Hello everyone, and welcome back to the
Arriving at
playoffs of the
Watchpoint,
EGF
Gibraltar.
Overwatch season. If you missed it, we just watched Woodstock Gold win over the Cyber Cardinals, and we are now getting into the next quarterfinal match between Three Rivers Middle College Wolfpack and Shelton's Gael Goons Black. My name is Dell, and I'm joined by Straight Rippin' today. How you doing, bud?
Doing wonderful. Got a great match coming up on Gibraltar right here. We'll see these two teams get into it. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. You know, we got a nice shiny new UI that I also love so much, and I think it's just in time for this playoff season. We're going to be hopping into some Gibraltar action today. We're going to see a little bit of Hanamura. Heck, we might even see some Kings Row if we go the distance, and that's always an exciting map pool to see.
That it is, and we're looking spiffy up here. I'm liking those new number icons. Everything's just looking very sleek. So what are you expecting to see out here from the attacking team? You think we're actually going to see any of this Bastion coming out?
I mean, that's a pretty common composition that I think you see in competitive, but I think the ultimate composition for this map is going to be revolving around dive. Dive is just one of those map compositions that doesn't really need good position to control, and Gibraltar being a map of positioning, dive is going to be one of those compositions that really will benefit the attackers the most. But we could see kind of a control the cart composition as well with a Bastion, and that could work too, but I think ultimately what I'd like to see is some dive.
And it doesn't look like, unless we're going to have some last second switches, which we are actually seeing the switch from the Bastion over to the Winston right here. So it looks like the Goons will be going for a bit of dive here, and they're actually pulling out the Moira. We haven't really had a chance to see too much Moira since she's been out for a little bit over a week. I believe it's coming up on 2 weeks now. And we got a little bit of action going on the cart right here. Not too much contest. Actually going to have a pit from the Wolfpack onto the Gael Goons. They're going to take out the Shaman. Going to have a res coming out now as they get ready to throw down on the payload. Having some swings from the Ryan 19. Going to be getting in some good hits right now. And we are already going to have a big Deadeye coming out. And that will put the halt on the attack for the Goons.
You know, Lunar is one of those guys that has consistently been standing out as a really good hit-scan player. You know, his McCready has definitely been a real standout, and I think that what we're going to need to see is that we're going to need to see some high pressure on him to shut down those 6 shots.
And he's already getting those charges back up, already coming up on halfway to the next Deadeye. We'll see if he's going to be able to position himself for another wonderful ultimate right there. Going to have a pit right there onto Nightington, so the main shield for Wolfpack will be down right now. And we're seeing the damage come out. The payload will finally be going down underneath the bridge right here. And with the second pit going to be on Waifu, looks like that they will be able to push up pretty easily here. Going to be bringing up the rear right there with the Mercy, pocketing the Winston, jumping out. And looks like we might see some ultimates come out. Here goes Evan in the back line, not able to find anybody right now. Nobody close enough on the payload to get a pit. And we do see Attack Visor finally popped out here. Still not finding anybody from Mr. Pink. He will finally take down the Mercy. Sport going down. Looks like put a fork in him. He is done. And the fight continues. Slow progression on the cart. No contest just yet from Waifu. Might get staggered here if he gets picked off. Gonna have the delayed spawn unless they're not able to actually finish out the point right here. The bro going to get the contest right here. So everybody will be up at the frontmost point. And then we have Shaman gonna pull out the ultimate. And we do have Diva coming in with the ult as well. The contest is still going on. It's just 0.54 away from the first point being taken right here. But the Goons are not able to complete it just yet. We have Mercy ultimate popped. 17 is going to be up top. And there it goes. They are going to be able to finally take the first point after a long contest.
And that was indeed a staggered battle, which we are going to see some Spark drop a little late here. We are going to see a lot of ultimates on the defense here, and you know, I think what's going to be really setting apart this defense hold is control of this top airplane area. That area is just so crucial and provides the team with such a big advantage. I think that if the defense is going to be successful, they're going to definitely need to be getting on top of there.
Right, you are, and we actually have Evan far in the back, going to be bringing up the rear for the side of Wolfpack, and we'll see if that's going to play a factor into this as he does pop the ultimate, going to try and stop and does get the mercy in the back. 17 will fall. We have another attack visor, Mr. Pink. We'll see if he's able to get any down. Takes out Lunar. That will be a big hit for the team right here, as we do have a res come out. Lunar is actually back up right now, not going to get anything going for them, but it looks like for the time being they will put a stop to the offense of the Goons right here. And we have Lunar popping that ultimate. He does find another one. I don't think he's missed anybody with that Deadeye just yet, so he is deadly with that. Evan still contesting the point, going to start retreating a little bit. 9 and 10, last man standing, will not stand for long. Second point taken.
We are going to have 4 minutes come into this last third point hold, and we are going to see a lot of ultimates on both sides. You know, I'm really looking for the big Dragon Blade out of Evan. He's been not as successful as we have seen him in the past, and I think that a big Dragon Blade is definitely what his team needs, especially with a potential nano boost coming into this third point fight.
And I'm sure you saw it, that they're having both support staggered. That'll be big for this push going up on the Goons right here.
Yeah, that definitely will be huge, and we are going to see the Nano Blade looks like it's going to get set up here, so big stuff coming out of Evan.
And ooh, we actually have a good slam coming out right there. Evan going to find one on his own enemy Genji, also going to find the Moira in the back right there. That should be the stop on the attack for the Goons with those pits. That was a wonderful Earth Shatter coming out from 9 and 10 right there.
You know, that was a really wonderful play out of the Earth Shatter, but I think that there's a little bit of too much ulting there. We saw a Valkyrie, a Blade, and a Nano come out too, and they only needed 1 or 2 of those ultimates. The defense is in a really scary position. You know, Lunar really has to show up huge with this Deadeye here, and if he doesn't, this could be a really easy push for the offense here.
And I can see what you're saying right there. He is pushed up a bit far. That probably isn't the optimal position to try and throw out that Deadeye, but we'll see if it's going to favor him. We have the Winston KC up in the back right there, trying to go for a flank. We do have more ultimates on the side of the Goons trying to get in here right now, but we'll see if they are able to make it work. No ults being popped just yet, though. We have Winston KC on the point solo, though. I don't think he's going to be able to get anywhere for right now. But Lunar is back into the spawn. We'll see if he's able to get anything going for him. Not yet. As the Goons, we'll see if they're able to push out and pick him off. Lunar actually pulling one out. Gonna take out the Shaman and taking out the Winston right here. This man is on fire. Please, somebody stop him.
You know, that was a really big opportunity for the offense there, and they didn't really capitalize on it. You know, they are going to have a big ultimate advantage coming into this next fight, but if they take one more slow fight like that, they're in, you know, real danger of not being able to complete this third point.
I think at this point, the Dale Goons might have to pull out May just to cool this man off. Make sure you take that firefighter skin, because this man is hot. We'll see if Lunar is going to be able to pop off a little bit more. We have Evan in the back, up top, trying to set up. Maybe going to get ready for his ultimate. Actually having D.Va met. And that was with the Deadeye from Lunar, so he will not have that. But it didn't look like that he needed that beforehand. We have Tac Visors coming out as we have Evan going in the back, is able to find the Mercy, is able to find D.Va. He is going off on the team right now. Will he be able to pick off? Ooh, gets meleeed by the Moira. And we will actually have Sport coming up in him, going to get him back in the fight. And for right now, it looks like this last point, as we commonly see, is going to be a hold, at least for right now.
60 seconds.
Yeah, with a minute left, you know, this is a really dire situation for the offense. They really have to be successful right about now. This Dragon Blade is from Max Shaman is what's going to be the game changer here.
And we'll there he goes, right in the back. You are right. He does take out Lunar. He does take out Evan. He will go down to the Ana, though. The fight is relatively even, but it does look like that the Goons do have a little bit in their favor right now. So the point will slowly move. They just have to make sure to stick the majority of their team on that to get as much distance as possible. Even if they aren't able to complete this, then having as much distance in their favor will pay off for them in the end. We actually have a switch to the Junkrat from the Froyo bro, and he will actually find Mr. Pink right over there. And we will start having the last contest right here. If the Goons are not able to get this, unless they're able to contest it, then this will be their final push. They have to stay on the point. We have D.Va met, gonna fall right on. Should find 2. It does. So we have the offense major damage dealers down for the Wolfpack right now. And it seems like they're chugging along, just final pick off for the last two, and that will actually be all 3 points unless Lunar's able to pull a miracle out of him right here. Doesn't do so. 3 points going to the Goons. However, they will have no time, so we'll be able to see if the Wolfpack will be able to get a faster completion.
You know, that was, I think, a really great recovery from the defense. They started out a little rocky. You know, there's some stuff flying around, and you know that tempo just caught them a little off guard. But they really did hold their own on that defense, and they really did come back. You know, the third point is probably one of the best points for defense in the game, and to really see them come back and just restabilize, and then you know see that pop off from Evan with the triple blade, and then we saw Lunar, of course, always showing up. You know, and then you know 17 and just holding the backline down to support. You know, that's just really great to see. And really strong recovery, honestly. You know, 0 seconds left on that third point is really good, especially when they're coming into 4 minutes of it. So burning it all off that time might have been the game changer or the game winner here for the offense. And what we're gonna see, I think, set two of these teams apart is how they control that momentum. As we kind of noticed, there's a really good tempo going for the offense for the first and second point. What ended up happening though is that they didn't really use their ultimates properly, and they didn't really engage with them, and they weren't able to kind of shove past this kind of really defensive favored choke point. And what is going to set this next offense apart is how they use those ultimates if they get to the third point. And in my opinion, it's going to be a really interesting match because we saw a lot of fast-paced tempo on that first offense, so I'm interested to see if we're matched with an equally fast-paced tempo on our second offense here on Gibraltar.
And what do you think of seeing the Moira for the defense? Because normally you see it for a lot of offense, just pushing up, not really focusing on the healing too much, even though her heal is actually pretty good, but mostly putting out the damage, being able to get that ult up very quickly.
And Moira is one of those heroes that I think is still too new to really be passing a lot of judgment on. I think that she's fairly strong in general, but I think that what makes a really good Moira is keeping her team alive, and that's not something that we're necessarily seeing. We're seeing a lot more of damage focused Moira, and that's, you know, that's an okay Moira, but it's not the best Moira.
And we are seeing actually a very far up contest right here. Evan will actually pick off the Moira, taking out game. However, he will get back into the game right here thanks to the Mercy. 17 pulling him up right here. And we actually have Frode going in, trying to create a little bit of space. Evan will take out Shaman. Nobody really on the enemy team to contest him too heavy, as long as that he gets hard healed right here with the Mercy and that of Sport. But we do have a Tire coming out in the back, only finding one Lunar. We'll see if he's going to be able to flank and create any more chaos for the team right here. Going to get actually stunned up and headshot by Lunar, as looks like that the Wolfpack will shove along right here. And we're going up in here. And here we have the Moira ult coming out, actually being very offensive right here. Ooh, and we do actually have Evan going to be popping the rocket barrage, but it actually doesn't find too much. We're actually having a turnaround right here. And then we will have Mr. Blonde going to drop the hammer, and there will be another stop right before the first point here. You know,
time and time again, I think I see Moira do that, where they really try to focus on the DPS of that Moira ult, and that really set the team up for failure. You know, Moira got way out of position, the grab happened, the Moira was caught in a position where she couldn't heal her team, and that's just really, really rough. So, I mean, that's just, it shows you the difference between like a good Moira and a great Moira is one that is using that ult a little bit more defensively and not ruining the position.
Oh, and right there, we did have an actual hammer down coming out. However, the stun going to deny any sort of charge right there, any sort of follow-up. So as long as that the Goons are able to hold this off right here, which it actually looks like it turned back around. Mr. Blonde gonna be the solo one, but he's buying tons of time for his team to get back in here. Actually won't take out the baby diva, so we'll see if Evan and the Fro are able to get this going for them. They might not contest it right before we have the Met come out, and that actually will shield him, not taking him out, just barely. Finally gets dropped out of here, so Fro will lose his mech again. And we actually have Sport coming in, gonna get this guy back in the fight right here. and it looks like that it's not going to be favoring the offense just yet. Goons going to be holding this one for another round right here. They have 1 minute. If they regroup right now, they should be able to get 2 more pushes in, but we'll see what Wolfpack's going to be able to do right here.
I think they're just going to get caught out there a little bit with the Junkrat in the corner, and you know, we are going to see time and time again that the tempo is just not able to be taken control from the offense. I think ultimately what's going to make this last push successful is a really big ultimate from Froyo Bro, or maybe even just a really clutch res from Spork here.
And we'll see if he's going to be able to thread the needle, maybe taking an unusual approach with that Diva ult to drop it behind the Reinhardt and catch them off guard. And that is not going to be the ult that he's looking for. Long range rocket barrage. Looks like the Shaman being able to get the Deadeye. Gonna pick off Lunar as well. This might be the hole that they're looking for. They have 10 seconds left. Spawns will come up at about 5 seconds left. Mr. Blonde does get an ultimate down, but I don't think that that's going to be enough. Fro is the only one left taken out. There actually will be an overtime. I don't know exactly who was on it in time to be able to pop that, but it looks like that the first round will go over to the Goons first.
You know, that was a little bit of a tale of a one-sided story. But we are gonna see the Moira take the play of the game from Mrs. Game Awful. And like look at this healing, and you know, like we're seeing a lot of damage, but we're also seeing like a clutch amount of healing that was denying that fair ultimate. And this is what I mean here. I mean, Moira ult does about 140 heals per second. And that's just something that's gonna really be the star of the show. And I think that the difference in those 2 pushes on offense is the difference between those 2 Moira ultimates. You know, we saw a really aggressive Moira ultimate from Wii Waifu, and that's something that, you know, it could have worked out, but it didn't. And then we see this really defensive positioning, healing focused ultimate from Game Waffle. And not only does he get to play the game, but he's also just doing a ton of work for his team. I think that's the tale of Moira.
I couldn't agree more with you right there. Had a good mix of offense and defense in there. And in just a moment, we will go over to Hanamura right here. And we'll be.
Teams are going to ask for a pause though, so we're going to take a quick second to just sort some stuff out really quick.
Match point Gibraltar.
Hello and welcome back to our EGF Overwatch playoffs semi-finals here, or the final quarterfinals here with the EGF Wolfpack and the Gael Goons Black. You know, we're gonna hop right back into Gibraltar. There's a little bit of a mistake that happened on our end, and that's not a big deal. What does matter is we are gonna see the Wolfpack starting on offense here, and they are gonna be opening up with some fierce fury that I love to see. And we are going to see the Gael Goons Black hop right back on defense. And we are going to basically take a Men in Black Mind Flash. Previous round didn't happen. It's anyone's game, and boy, am I excited.
I didn't see a single thing last time. I wasn't even here.
Yeah, no, I think I checked out. I think it was at the library, you know. Once again, we are going to see some dive. And that's what I love to see on this map, as I said so much before. And I think what I'm really looking forward to is the Lunar Widow play.
That will be interesting. We did get to see a little bit of gameplay earlier, but that definitely did not come out. We'll see if this is something that they were kind of holding in their back pocket, seeing if Lunar is going to be able to get some free pits here very early. Normally coming out of spawn isn't that favorable, and we did see both teams opting for the Reinhardt. So anybody out of position, if Lunar is able to get it right, we should see something burned early, and then that should definitely favor Wolfpack here. As we get into this, Mr. Pink going to be taking a rest right up on the bridge there.
Stop the payload.
And no early pits just yet. Still very early in this game. We actually do not have the Goons going to be completely behind the shield. They will jump down early to contest this. We'll see if they're able to have a good strong hold like they did previously. We have Winston jumping in. The bro Evan going to be diving in. Will not be able to get back out of there. Mr. Pink going to take out Evan. We do have a res in the back right there. Mr. Pink on the high ground. We don't have any pits just yet from Lunar still. Normally at this point in time, if you haven't had anything worthwhile come out of the Widow, you would see a swap. But his team having faith in him right here. And the point will chug along slowly. And Mr. Pink going to have revenge taken on him from Evan after he got that revive. Evan popping up right here, having a little bit of support from the team for the heals. Diva going to be working on that barrier. They still haven't taken it out, surprisingly. Normally, you want to try to break that barrier down as quick as possible and then dive back in. Going to be a good block on the fire strike. Lunar going to be finding finally 2 people right there. We'll see if he's able to pick off 3. And we will have Evan going into the back right here. We do have a defensive grab coming out. Ooh, Mr. Pink finding 3 right there. However, the payload will be chugging along still right here. Are any of the defensive people going to be able to find it for Wolfpack? That will be a negative right there.
No one can hide from my sight.
We are going to see the wall hacks popped, and that was just a really slow but methodical take on that first point. You know, we do see a lot of pressure coming out from Lunar. You know, he's abusing these sight lines and jerking some picks. You know, primarily just there for the threat, I think. And Evan's been really the Russian leading his offense to a lot of these kills. As he goes in and dives in with some follow-up from Froyo Bro, clean up these inner shots.
And we did have some scopes coming out there from Lunar. He's in the back line, gets almost a headshot, gonna get a hit, but we'll get some healing. Ooh, I heard that from the first person point of view. Second one right there. Lunar's starting to go off in the back line. Somebody's got to contest this, man. He's just right in your back line. You would have thought that he was a Winston diving into the middle of the team back there. But he will survive, and he will get this team onto the second point right here. So Wolfpack going to be completing that right there as they chug along.
I require healing.
They are going to be completing it, and it is a tale of Lunar's Widow right now. You know, he's just given all the space in the world, and he's going to use it. You know, the man is a stellar hitscan player. What we really need to see from the Gael Goons here is some Winston play, or maybe even some Diva, or maybe just providing that additional pressure to deny those sightlines from Widow.
Right, you are trying to deny those sight lines, and you got to wonder if this is more a shield issue or simply a positioning issue. We don't see any dive, really anybody to contest from the Goons. The best that you really got back there is going to be maybe Junkrat trying to dive in. If not, then it will be Shaman trying to go in. We have the defensive Moira ult coming out in the back, the Coalescence. going to actually find Lunar, and that will stall them just for a brief moment. No contest on that res for Lunar. We'll see which Mercy will be able to get picked off first, if any, for this push right here. And we do have Shaman trying to retreat behind his team. Lunar going to be popping up. Not going to find anybody really in that positioning. Ooh, and we have Evan diving into the back right there, going to find both supports. That is wonderful for them. However, we do have Mr. Blonde going to be contesting on the point. We'll definitely put some stall onto this push right here. And he will finally fall down as the payload continues to chug along right here. We got 4 minutes to take this last straight away.
You know, we are going to see a Valkyrie come out there, but what a blade there from Evan, getting 3 pieces, then 3 follow-up kills after that.
And Evan coming up big, as you mentioned. Waifu going to actually be taking out KC right there. We have 17 with the ult just burning out right there, trying to actually get onto Lunar. So Mr. Blonde holding strong onto the point right there. However, Evan is in the middle of the team right there. They got to turn around and try to focus on him as he pops his blade. Nobody's contesting with him. Nobody's taking him out in the backline right there. You cannot leave a Genji up to his own devices in the back. He will take out your team, as we saw right there. And we actually did have a grab come out. However, not going to pull up too much for that. And Lunar is going to be taking out Moira. Game going down right there. And we even have 17 taken down. Both supports down one more time by Lunar. Mr. Blonde is left alone right here. Shaman going to try his best right here as the rest of his team spawns. But we'll see what they're able to do. Only one with the Rip Tire. The favor is definitely for the Wolfpack right here in terms of numbers. We'll see if they're able to mop it up right here. Mr. Pink, can he hold it off by himself? Will not. Blonde still barely contesting, but the shield, he's just a little too far away. And that recall will save the point for right now, but they have 2.5 minutes for this tiny last point right here. Less than a meter to go. And finally, Earthshatter coming out. Mr. Blonde right there. And they actually, the Goons coming up big right there at the very end. But Lunar's still in the back, uncontested. How are they going to be able to get onto him? KC, you got to get back up there. Lunar's still just crouching in the back. Nobody sees him, surprisingly. Let's lower our voices down. We don't want to alert them to Lunar in the back right now. Ooh, somebody's got an eye to him. Right, you were. He definitely did get spotted. I think the Mercy spotted him out right as you were about to mention that.
We got a minute and 30 left. You know, we're sitting in a pretty good position on the offense, and so far the tail has been the tail of Evan's Dragon Blades. You know, Lunar's definitely putting down a threat and build capitalizing an opportunity, but Evan, man, has just been really showing up today.
And we have the fight on the point continuing. We actually are sticking with this Tracer for right now. We'll see if they're able to come up with any good ultimates right here. Lunar actually going to be opting for the Pharah now. And looking at the Goons, there's not too much that can really contest right there. And we actually had 2 taken out right now on the side of Wolfpack. And we have a Resurrect coming out right now. So unless they're going to push up right now with the few ultimates that they have, this looks like it'll be a stall until maybe the ultimates favor Wolfpack on the push right here. We do have 3 coming up right now. And there we go. We will start it off right there. Ooh, going to be finding 3 Nightington. Brilliant ults right there. We'll see if they're able to finish out. The payload did retreat a little bit backwards. Of course, if you're not on it, it does start falling back slowly. We have the Mercy ultimate. Sport gonna be up there trying to support his team like he does your school lunches with the spoon and the fork. And looks like both Mercy just having a fight fest up there, or should I say a flight fest. No action shots coming out though. Both diving in, putting on an aerial shell. Nothing too stellar happening on the point. Both teams just being drastically healed by both Mercies. And finally, Rocket Barrage coming out right here. Gets shielded. Only finds Mr. Pink right here. This will come down to overtime. If not, less than 1 second probably left on it. And right here, finally, looks like the Goons are starting to fall. 2 left as Jut comes out of the point. However, Evan getting the blade out at the last moment right here, going to take out 17. And Waffle going to try to stall as long as possible. I really don't see them on the Wolfpack side being able to really pull this one out unless they're able to stall long enough with all 6 people and get a full team fight. But surprisingly, they're able to hold on for right now. They very well might do it. And as I say that, commentator's curse, 2 people are going to drop right there. Deadeye coming out. Ooh, looks like we're going to find one on the side of Lunar. That is a big component of the offense right there. We have another self-destruct sequence. We'll see what comes up right here. Only going to find one right there. Just got to get the bro off of it, which they did. Spork and Nightington now joining the fight. And this long, drawn-out fight in overtime actually seems to possibly be going in favor of the Goons. We still have more people trickling in right here. Lunar actually will be able to get back in time. And just pick off Evan. You got this. And there it goes. Overtime finally trickling down right there. I am winded. And we will have 2 points. Just barely shy of that third one over for the Wolfpack as we swap roles.
It will be a very close one indeed. And the third point of Gibraltar is what I like to call a wipe ultimate point. And it's the same of a lot of third points where you just kind of have to bring those big bang combos, those big, nice, shiny team wipe combos. And that's something that, you know, we didn't really see from the Wolfpack. You know, we saw a lot of really high octane, great DPS play, but where they really kind of suffered is that they didn't have a big follow up like a Graviton or a Shatter, or heck, even an Orisa ultimate could have been put to some use there. And that's ultimately what's gonna prevent them from being really successful. You know, not having that wipe condition that just cleans up every little last member of the defense just makes it so that they're constantly trickling out. You know, and you're basically fighting a horde of zombies in a where you just have player after player after player on the defense just coming out of those doors, and it's really difficult to shut down. And so what I would have liked to see from the Wolfpack there would have been, you know, maybe a Grav, maybe an Orisa Bongo, or maybe heck, just using their bodies to block the doorways. You know, Diva and Winston can both block both doorways pretty easily, and that's something that really will make the difference there. You know, we saw time and time again when it's just 1 or 2 people scrapping it out on the cart, and then eventually it would just become these big mosh pits of death. You know, looking for those wipe conditions, or heck, even calling it a win condition is what I think we needed to see there. But interestingly enough, you know, we are going to see the Gael Goons on attack, and we are going to see the dive comp. You know, what I would like to see a lot here is I would like to see how they're going to use the Moira differently on attack.
4, 3.
Lots to take in right there. And I think actually something that most people don't think about is that body blocking aspect that you were talking about. I have had that happen to me a good number of times, and boy, is that frustrating, but it can definitely come up big in crucial moments. So a lot to take in right there. Hopefully both teams are able to play it their way, and we'll see if we are able to take it to the 3 points and have another close battle right there, as Shaman is going to be taken down. Lunar starting to come up big, very, very already going to have over 50%, coming up on 60 for his ultimate right there. Mr. Blonde off fighting on his own right there. Don't think he'll probably find too much right here. Going to be demet, and Lunar will take him out right there. So going to actually be a good defensive hold, at least for right now, inside of the Wolfpack.
You know, we are going to see Nightington, and at least as far as I've seen, Nightington hasn't been a part of the roster as soon as or in the past. And what I'd like to see from this guy, and what he's been doing a really great job of, just really providing that frontline tank presence. And that's something that I think we don't see a ton of here in the EGF series.
And we actually will see a very quick Deadeye. Not sure if that was misclick or not. Didn't find anything with that too much though. But the way he's been able to charge that, wouldn't worry about it too much. And something interesting that we didn't actually touch on right before was actually the Reaper Pit, because we had not seen that in the prior match that actually was played. So maybe adjusting a little bit to the conditions right here. We'll see what they're able to pull out right here. And this is looking like a really strong hold, pushing up very, very far into the spawn right there. Evan's going to be coming up even bigger. And looks like that this will be another hold right here. And we have a lot of ultimates coming up on the side of the Goons. We'll see if they're able to utilize that.
Yeah, the Goons really are suffering because of this Reaper pick. You know, it's a really scary matchup to have a Ryan and a Reaper. And what's really being punished here is their timing. Their timing isn't perfect, and it's not as good as it should be, and it's going to Reaper's going to take a really good advantage of that.
And we actually had Mr. Pink in the back. He was actually there for just a little bit, able to pick off 2. And this will actually favor the Goons since they are so close to their spawn. So as the point gets actually closer to the end of this first push, it will start to even out as far as for how teams have to travel towards the point. So for right now, it is still in favor of the Goons, and they had burned a bit of ultimates, but they do have 17, probably going to be able to keep them alive. But we have a little bit of a flank back here. We have the Bro, Sport, and Waifu actually coming around the back right here. We'll see if they're able to make any use of that. Lunar is going to take out Waffle. We'll see if they're going to be able to make use of the numbers advantage. Tons of ults up right now. Ooh, we do have the Death Blossom coming out, not able to block it just in time. That ultimate that I mentioned, 417, will not be a factor into this fight. Evan's going to be trying to take out KC. Doesn't take him out just yet. Earthshatter coming out. Actually going to be taken out by Mr. Pink. Does save the Diva from getting blasted into the wall right there, but she is demet as they chase her. This will be a delayed spawn pretty heavily. And she does, I believe, decide to just stop running, try to get back with the team as fast as possible. So ultimates are still actually up in favor of the defensive team Wolfpack right here.
They are going to be in favor of the ultimates. This is going to be the last push. We are going to see kind of dire straits come out. And what's going to really be the time, the tail of the time for the defense is going to be Waifu. This Transcendence is absolutely a huge ultimate, and it really will be the game changer here.
And as we saw, Evan still wrecking havoc, but he will finally get taken down right here. We'll see if Arez is going to be able to come out. Looks like that this is starting to go in favor of the Goons. We do have the Deadeye Pop going to find 1 right there. Mr. Pink going to demet as we have 17. Finally getting his chance to use his ultimate. And there is that Transcendence. As you mentioned, Evan taking 2 out. We'll see if they're able to pull this off. That is going to be Sport up top, giving the heals to the team. Mr. Pete doing his best. I don't think he's going to be able to pull this off solo, though. And Shaman is not going to pull it out, be able to contest on this. So we will have Wolfpack going to be taking game 1.
That is, you know, a really interesting tale. You know, I like the contrast that first Forgotten game and that second game. It was very, very different. And what I really like to see, and what we did see a lot of, was a lot of clutch play here. This tire was absolutely instrumental here. You know, it didn't end up working out quite the way we wanted to. They didn't get quite that hold. But I think that you know, you take bits and pieces of that. You take those big grabs and you put those on third points, and you put those on the end conditions where you get that extra time bonus when you push that card just to that checkpoint. And I think that's what's going to set your team up for success. You know, what we're not seeing too much is we're not seeing too much of big wipe ultimates. What we are seeing is a lot of individualistic play, and that's kind of why, in my opinion, the Wolfpack is winning. It's because they've been having Evan and Lunar just kind of individually stand above the rest, and it's not to say that their team members aren't participating, but more so that the pressure is coming from one point. You know, when I think of Gael Goons, I think of just a really strong kind of work together type of team, and they're the type of team that's gonna really work together to overcome that stuff. And the one thing that they're doing well is working together. The one thing that they're not doing is they're not working together at the right target. And I think that's something that it's constantly setting them up for a lot of pressure upon themselves, and it's making a lot of mistakes happen. And, you know, this is the playoffs. This is where it gets really intense. It's all for all the marbles. And we are going to head into Hanamura. And Hanamura has been a map that the Wolfpack have utterly dominated on. So I'm really interested to see that, you know. That's one of those things that map pick coming in with the right emotions and the right composition and just the right mindset can really set yourself up for failure and poor success. And what we're going to see is a really fast-paced attack, hopefully, from the Wolfpack.
Hopefully so. And I just want to piggyback off of one of the points that you had mentioned, having Evan in that back line. We did see towards the end of the attack phase that Evan was actually kind of just left to himself in the back there. None of the team was turning around. Don't know if that's a communication thing or just awareness. Probably a little bit of both right there. So I do believe that that is something that we can hopefully expect that they will be able to address moving forward. And we'll see if the teams coming up will be able to secure both points, if we'll have any sort of third rounds onward as we get ready for the setup on Hanamura.
You know, Hanamura is not one of my maps that I absolutely love, as I think I've said many times before. But what I really like to see is the unique compositions that come out on this map. You know, we've seen Ryan Orisa be the tail of time. We've seen some Bastion play, I believe. But the one thing we haven't seen is Torb. And Torb is honestly, you know, I think you guys like him as much as I do, but he's really good on this point, and I think that what I would like to see is a really nice Torb composition, and I think that could really play to the emotional impact that you have. You know, you come up something, you don't see it too often, but when you see it, you really don't know what to do, and that could be a really nice win condition for the defense here, whether we see it from Gael Goons or whether we do see it from Wolfpack. You know, in previous times we have seen Lunar absolutely just dominate on this map, and so I think that if I'm the Gael Goons, what I'd be expecting, especially after that Gibraltar performance, is the Widow pick gonna come out. And so, you know, right now we don't really see anything to prepare for that Widow play. And this could be a thing where their composition might not be geared to fight the battles that the Wolfpack are gonna bring. And so what I really want to see here is either some really nice Junkrat play to shut down a Widow, or I'm fearful for the Gael Goons here on this first point.
We'll see how that composition will play out for them, and I can definitely see what you're talking about. Might not be equipped, and we will have them be rushing out right here. Let's see if they take the standard left route. They do. Actually going to have that deflect from Evan, and that is a little bit of an interesting mechanic that you're able to reflect that so late. Evan pushing up pretty far right here. We did have a pick, but then we had an early revive, so no worries right there. Fro going to be diving in. Genji following up a little bit behind right there. They do not get the D-Mac. We'll see if the team's able to focus down the single target. Does get the D-Mac, and D.Va is actually going to be on the opposite side of the wall. So considering that they're able to hold the D.Va in that baby phase for a prolonged period of time, actually might be beneficial for them. Mr. Pink doing work though. You're not playing Junkrat right if you are seeing your enemy, which just lobbing those bombs over there, getting the pick onto the enemy. Mercy is going to pay off for them very well. And we see a strong hold with the double shields. As long as they're alternating that, this will be tough to break.
It is one of those things that is tough to break, but we did see an opening pick from the defense on that first push. And we are going to see Evan get control of that high ground. And this could be the push that they need.
And this looks like to possibly be a repeat of what we saw. Evan going to get behind the team, does get a single pick right here. KC's going to be pushed up far a little bit more on his own. Finally gets some heals from the Mercy. And it looks like we will have a pick onto Lunar. However, he gets rezzed instantly. And so we finally are going to have Wolfpack starting to break onto the point as we see it contested right here. 9-10 going to be getting that pocket healed. Are they able to break around that shield? KC, make sure you're getting those heals from your team or else you won't last too long. Gonna have the Deadeye coming out. Actually not gonna find anybody, trying to retreat behind the shield. Doesn't make it just in time. Lunar gonna be picking him off right there. Going to be finding Evan. So it looks like for the time being, the Goons actually on the point, being able to retreat tactically and set up their barriers will hold just fine for right now, but we have a few Wolfpack players in the back.
We do have the D.Va and the Ana still in this fight, and Froyo bro just gonna D-Mac, and he's gonna stagger himself really hard there, but Mr. Blonde saved by the fence there. What a lucky guy there with that charge, almost taking his life.
Normally you want to destroy those, but I think he'll think twice before he decides to take any of those barriers out. And we do have the Nano Blade coming out. Evan not able to find anything, and as I say that, once more, my curse coming on in right there. We will have Mr. Blonde falling right there, 9-10, and it looks like that the Wolfpack will be able to take this point. I don't see the Goons being able to come back as a team to be able to take this, so we'll have Lunar pushing up just a little bit. And so what did you think about that push right here, especially with the ultimates in the way that they are right now?
You know, Nano Blade is one heck of an ultimate, and I think that even with that really cleverly placed trap from Mr. Pink, still wasn't enough. It just created too much space and got a lot of room there.
And with the room, they will be moving into this tight corridor in the back right there. Mr. Pink going to be finding only one in the back. Lunar's going to be popping off right there, though, and Evan's also going to be doing work. Looks like that this might be a quick second take right here. We will have Mr. Blonde. Oh, he actually falls down. Even if they wouldn't be able to kill him, it would take him too long to actually walk around the entire point. Nobody will actually get onto the second point. So even though the first point was a decent hold, 4 minutes, 35 seconds, 2 points in favor of the Wolfpack right now.
Everybody say it with me. 2CP. 2CP. No, just kidding. This is why this map type is one of those ones that it's just really not my favorite. You know, what we saw essentially, we saw Wolfpack win 2 fights, and those 2 fights determine the fate of the map. And tempo is absolutely crucial. You know, what we saw there was Evan getting 2 Dragon Blades before the enemy team could blink. You know, he had 1 to clean up the first fight, and then 1 to just hop right into the second point fight, and that's just really lethal. We also saw Tyre coming out from, I can't remember who. I think it was Mr. Pink. I think that sounds right, but he didn't really find much, and ultimately I think that was their only real defensive win condition there, was going absolutely huge with the Tyre. You know, fear not though, this is still anyone's game. 4 minutes is not a lot of time on 2CP. You know, you get 4 minutes for capturing the point, so really they kind of did it with like a cheeky 30-second time. So what the offense could do here, what Gael Goons could do to fight back would be get a really nice capture, you know, in 1 to 2 minutes, you know, 1 to 2 pushes, that'd be absolutely supreme. And they're sitting just as good as gravy. And the thing you have to remember too is you don't get that 4-minute time bonus on that second offense if we get that far. And that's something that really, if you have a really good offensive first hold or defensive first hold like we did from Gael Goons, that 4 minutes might not mean anything if they take another 4 minutes to capture it. So, you know, still anyone's game. We are going to see Lunar and McCree sitting right next to his buddy White Waifu on Zenyatta, and that's going to be something that I'm still looking forward to. You know, he wasn't as successful in the Widow, but he definitely is still a great player. We are going to see Shaman, however, bring out the Widow, and this guy's been going bar for bar with Lunar, so, you know, big things could come out of him too.
We'll see any early pits. As you mentioned, both teams going to be, or I'm sorry, Shaman going to be taking out that Widow right here. We saw Lunar pull it out in the last game. Not able to find anything too early just yet. Now, based off of the defense that the Wolfpack is holding right here, this will be very difficult for the Goons to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Rhine and the D.Va being able to just back up behind that shield and try to break the defense. However, their spawn is a lot closer, so if they want to be a little bit reckless, it might actually favor them to dive in, kind of stagger the team a little bit. It is an idea, probably not well advised, but it is a thought that you could try to stagger the team, get a few pits here and there, your respawn's a lot closer, and then you trickle in a lot faster to be able to pick them off for the fight. And we have Knight and 10 recharging right here. These are the moments where you really want to see the Goons really get in there, since they know that if Reinhardt does throw up his shield again, it will break almost instantly, and then there will be that entire point where they cannot put up the shield. They're just taking their time right now, though. We have Shaman busting himself back in right there. It looked like that Waifu probably killed himself with the reflect from Shaman coming out right there. And we are going to have a res coming out. Ooh, we do have a grab coming up. However, there's not going to be any follow-up. Ooh, dual ultimates coming out for the Mercies right here. However, it does look like it's in a little bit more favor of the Wolfpack, as they have everybody up for their team right now. We'll see if anything good's able to come up right here. Game Waffle will fall as well. Looks like Mercy is just going to be retreating, unfortunately. And we will have a reset. Looks like both teams have a single ultimate, with Shamans coming up very soon. Waifus is up now, so that will be a counter. We'll see how they're able to play around each other.
Yeah, we are going to see 2 minutes left on this attack, and this is kind of that moment where we need to see the Gael Goons come up huge with Mr. Blonde and the Shatter and the pin. Holy cow.
Wonderful pin onto Knight and 10. However, Evan with his positioning not being contested right there. We'll see if he is going to be able to get taken out. However, Lunar going to come up. He is deadly with this Deadeye, as is in the name. Going to get a stun. And this man you have to contest them in some way, shape, or form. I don't think that playing the long game against the Wolfpack is going to really work. We haven't really seen that. Maybe taking more dive, which is something that you've emphasized, is going to be a lot more in their favor. The Widow pick, maybe going with a Winston would have been a better option. They're finally might have something to go along with the Diva if they would go along with that. Maybe if somebody would play a Genji or a Tracer, anything just to kind of disrupt the backline a little bit more and not leave Lunar and the Junkrat to their own devices.
You know, we are going to see Widow, Shaman back on the Widow, and he was really successful on that Genji. And I think the Genji pick would be a little bit more beneficial to his team right here. What we need to see is an absolutely massive tire from Mr. Pink, and maybe even a Graviton follow-up.
And it looks like Evan will beat Mr. Pink to that tire, though. Going to get 2. This will put a stop to the attack right here. And so they have maybe 1, possibly 2 more shots to be able to get in here. Looks like that they do have 2 ultimates right now. We do have a swap over to the Tracer to go along with Mr. Blonde, maybe be able to get into the dive, but they have to rush out of here and try to get to the point. Point contest will be very, very crucial right here. If they're not even able to touch it, then they will not get the overtime. Gonna have the Deadeye popped once more, going to find Game Waffle right there. We did have 1 person on it. Ooh. However, we will have multiple people far right there. 17 barely gets on the point. However, that will be all she wrote. Looks like the Wolfpack's defense will be too much for the Goons right here, as Mr. Blonde's going to take his final stand on the point, and that will be 2 in favor of the Wolfpack.
You know, my man Lunar, let me tell you about Lunar. Not only does he pick McCree, not only does he play way out of position, but he's thrown out 4K after 4K after 4K, and is even going to pick up the play of the game with his fur ultimate, you know. And I really don't like to be like that guy that's like, oh man, the DPS just carried the team, but boy, let me tell you about that combination of Evan and Lunar, and that stuff is lethal.
I think you could make a strong point for carrying 67% kill participation. This man was all over the place, putting shots in, and we saw good examples of that even on the first round of Gibraltar, being able to dive in pretty much to the Goons and still be able to take people out almost solo, you could even say. You know,
I would say Hanamura for sure. Lunar's, every time they've picked Hanamura, Lunar's been Mr. McCree. You know, he's been hitting shots, he's been hitting high noons, and he's been just absolutely unstoppable. And that's something that really comes down to the enemy team's tank line. You know, when you think of it, you kind of have to think of Overwatch kind of like a triangle, right? You have DPS is countered by tanks are countered by good healing, and good healing is countered by DPS. And so one of those things that you kind of have to think about is like, okay, where did we mess up? If I'm the Gil Goons, where did we mess up? And I think that has to be on the responsibility of the tank line. We really didn't see the counter picks that we needed to see, and we really needed to see just someone to just sit on Lunar. And then additionally, you know, when Evan was just going really off on that Gibraltar Genji play, that's something that I think ultimately the reason why Gibraltar was such a tail for Wolfpack was that Genji play from Evan. That man had 3 Dragon Blades that each got 3 kills, and even then was a major participation in all of the damage in general. And that's something that it's just really hard to deal with. And you know, I really respect the Gil Goons though. They are one of my favorite teams. They were the first team I've ever casted, and I think that, you know, their head's going to be held high. It was a close match, fought both on both sides. You know, we did see a little bit of holds and stuff, but the fights were still close. We saw some really stellar Mercy play. We saw, you know, some huge earth shatters, and we even did see a shatter into a bubble there. And you thought that I missed that, but no, we all saw that one. But GG's to everybody. And anything you have to say, Mr. Rippin?
No, I think we're good. If you want to take it away right here, and then we will plug back in and for you guys with the upcoming games for the playoffs, but I'll let my co-caster here take it away.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you for tuning in today. It was a really wonderful broadcast. We just saw the Wolfpack take the match over the Gael Goons Black, and the second quarterfinal match of the stream. You can catch the action tomorrow. You remember, it's League of Legends. It's at 4 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be absolutely legendary, and I can't recommend you enough to come check out this League of Legends play. It's going to be quarterfinals. It's just as well. So hit that follow button, add official EGF here on Twitch, and don't forget to check out our Twitter too for updates. My name is Del, and you can follow me at Twitter at DelOverwatch. No, I'm not a Del. It's just Del Overwatch. Thank you. And how about you, Straight Rippin'? Where can they find you?
You gave me false hope there. I was hoping to actually meet the real Adele, but you can find me Straight Rippin', and it will be at Straight Strippin'. No teases there. I'm sorry. Maybe on stream at some time right here. But with my buddy here, we had Del, and I am Straight Rippin', and we will see you all next time.
See ya.